And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
At a game fair this year, I was kind of startled to see this game here, Pony Express, because it reminded me a lot of Dice Town. I mean, look, the boxes are the same. They both appear to be silly games about the Wild Wild West. In fact, they both use the same component where they have these cups and dice with poker faces on them. And I thought, are they the same game? Well, the answer is this. They're not even remotely well, okay, I guess they're remotely similar, but not much so. Dice Town is about rolling dice and trying to get good combinations and outplaying everybody else. Light, silly fun, great game. Pony Express is about rolling dice, but then after that, it's all about bluffing. Completely trying to outbluff someone else, and with some dexterity skill thrown in. This is a game that some people are going to love because it is a lot of fun. But some people are going to hate this game too because it's very chaotic, but I found it incredibly entertaining, and while I wouldn't want to play it all the time, it certainly is a lot of fun. Let me show you why. On a really nicely drawn board, you see that each player is a member of the Pony Express, and they are going to be attempting to move down this track to the end to be the first to deliver the mail. When it's your turn, you move by taking a handful of poker dice, putting them in a cup, and rolling them. You look at the results that you've rolled secretly. You can just decide to keep it, or you can re-roll some of them if you want. To re-roll them, you need to pay a gold nugget. Everybody starts with 3, and you can get more as the game progresses. But let's say I decide to re-roll. I can either show the dice I'm re-rolling, or I can show the dice I'm keeping and re-roll the other one secretly. Either way, players will know some of the dice that I have, but not all of them. After that, I simply tell people what I just rolled. So for example, you can see I have 3 different ones here, but I would say, okay, I have 3 of a kind. And when we look at this chart at the top, let me zoom in on that. When we look at the chart here, it shows you that when you roll 3 of a kind, you move 3 spaces. If you roll a large straight, you go 4. If you roll full house, you go 5. 4 of a kind lets you go 6. 5 of a kind lets you go 7. A pair lets you go 1. 2 pairs lets you go 2. So I say, I rolled 3 of a kind. I then get ready to move my gentleman 3 spaces. However, if the person who's closest to me on the track does not believe me, they can call my bluff. If they do so, and I was wrong, instead of me moving that amount of spaces, they will move that number of spaces. If they call me and I was right, however, then they go to jail. They put their piece face down on the board, showing that they have gone to jail. And that's basically it. Once you move, the space you land on will let you do different things. For example, you can land on a gold nugget. You simply roll the dice, and whatever you roll, let's say you roll 3 of a kind, that's how many gold nuggets you get. If you roll on a railroad track, you can pay the amount that the station there shows. For example, you can see this station here says 3. So if you roll and you land on this spot, you can pay 3 gold nuggets and move to the next train spot. The spots where there's drinks, you have to get up and serve all the other players drinks, and then roll the dice and pay that many gold nuggets to the bank. But here's an interesting one. When you land on a teepee, you must fight the Indians. Hey look, there's 3 Indians there. What the player must do is, they will go over here to this side of the board, so you have to physically stand up and move to this side of the board. You'll take 1 die, and you're going to be rolling this die at the Indians, kind of like bowling. So I come over here, your fingers can't go past the white line, you roll, I've knocked over 2 of the Indians. So I knocked over 2 Indians, that gives me 2 gold, but there's still 1 Indian standing, so my player must move back 1 space. If I had missed them completely, I would have had to move back 3 spaces. If I had knocked them all over, I would have got 3 gold. And then there's also some other spaces that give you cards, and these cards let you do a various number of special actions. Let you re-roll for free. Give you a card that lets you shoot farther on the board when you are shooting at the Indians or at another player. At another player, right, when you land on someone else, you both have a duel. Love this. A little brown token is placed there to show that you have a duel, and then each player is placed at these opposite corners, and then you have 3 shots, just like shooting at the Indians, to knock down each other's cowboy. If you knock over the other person's cowboy, you steal half their gold. If you knock over some poor innocent cowboy in the middle, then you go to jail. And you can do that 3 times. If you both miss, well, so much. If 3 people are in the same space, then they have a poker game. They all roll dice. Whoever has the highest poker hand wins money, gold nuggets from the other players. And that's really how the silliness of the game is exemplified. Going to jail is not the worst thing in the world. When you go to jail, you simply roll the dice, all 5 dice, and there's a chart up on the board that shows you what you do. You might escape and get to move that turn, but no matter what you roll, even if you rolled nothing, your piece will stand up and you'll get to go next turn. So you will likely lose a turn, but you might get to get some even money or cards and get to go right then. You never know what's going to happen in this game, but eventually one player is going to get to the end spot. Once they get to the end spot, on their next 2 turns, instead of rolling, they simply move 1 spot forward. If they get here before anyone else gets to the end, they automatically win the game. If another player gets to the end, though, however, then they have one final duel, and this time they just shoot at each other until one player knocks the other player over, and then that player is the winner. At this point, I really think that you, the listener or watcher, are going to be able to tell if you're going to like the game or not. Is there some strategy? You know, not really. I mean, you can look at the dice you roll and try and land on spots that are beneficial to you. But mostly you're just trying to outbluff everybody else. You don't have to. You can tell people exactly what you rolled, and you'll probably lose, because sometimes you'll need to say that you rolled a little better than you did. And shooting at each other with the dice is a lot of fun. Some people are going to be better at throwing dice than other people, but how many games let you throw dice at your opponent's pieces and knock them over? Like I said, Pony Express is not going to be a game you want to play all the time. But it is a game that so far, every time I brought it out, people have had a blast playing it just because of really how over-the-top silly it was. And I like having games like that in my collection.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.